We're all on a journey of discovery, aren't we? All of us beekeepers, and even if you're not a beekeeper, you're on a journey of discovery, you probably just don't know it. And I'm sure everybody out there in beekeeping land has had more than one go at this pet peeve of mine, cleaning old bee frames. What a painful exercise. Fine if you've got 10, when you've got a few thousand, it just welds on into God knows what. So I had this brainwave that instead of actually having to do it all manually, I'd make a little heat box. And then I could just heat up the frames and they could just drip off automatically. And a bloke would just turn up and there'd be perfectly clean bee frames and you just pop them in the box and away he goes. But anybody who's done anything with bees knows nothing goes easy. So it kind of worked, but not really. So we're going to give you the updated version, especially since the power bill nearly sent me bankrupt. But anyway, that's another problem. And the wife got that bill. She went, "Are you out of your mind?" Something along those lines it went. But anyway, come over here and I'll show you what madness a bloke gets up to in his spare time. So I bought this set of heat lights back in the day when I was trying to get some honey warmed up, because I thought, well, this would be a good idea. I'll put these in the honey house and it'll warm stuff up and it'll be all good. But the problem with that was, it was just not quite adjustable enough. So it got a little bit too hot in certain spots and not hot in other spots. So heat lamps can be rather amazing when you're naked in your bathroom, but in your honey house, not necessarily such a wonderful thing. But a bloke is not lost for opportunity. But you know what thought? He's always a bit of a worry, Mr. Thinking Man. But anyway, I thought I'd get this bloody heat lamp and stick it in a box, and I'd put my bee frames in the box, and then they would just clean themselves while I wandered around and did other stuff in the job sheet. You can imagine that didn't work real good. You can see my slight mess that we have in the bottom of my pot. There is a little bit of shrapnel that was dropped in the bottom of this pot in my grand scheme. Sort of half worked. I even had a bucket at the end hoping that the wax was going to run out. What a dreamer. But anyway, sometimes on the journey of experimental ideas you come to a solution at the end, which I have, I think. So you could try this at home if you happen to have a spare set of heat lamps. You could just rip them out of your bathroom and nip them out to the bee shed and pop them back when you're finished. My high-tech switch. Don't try this. It's got a safety edge now, just in case so you can't really electrocute yourself quite so easily. Pa-ding! Isn't electricity a fascinating thing? Gets in a little circuit and turns in and then, hey presto, you've got lights. Anyway, my original plan was that all this will get nice and hot. You can put your frames in here. Bloke might have needed a hive tool for this box. Oh, come on. So, anyway, here you are. You've got some old bee frames that you need to replace because you don't want to, obviously, eventually after they've been in your brood box for a little while, you've got to get some new ones so the cells don't get too small for the ladies. So the plan is you sit your frames in the box with your heat lamps on, you have them in the, start putting your frames in the box, melt them whilst you do something else. Heck, you could probably hook that permanently if you really wanted to get excited. But it was only the prototype, so it's still in development stage. Isn't that what they say when they're trying to do an IPO? When they're trying to raise some money, they say, we've got the development, we've almost got the shoe worked out, but, you know, just send us a few million and we'll be up there. So something along those lines, I think it goes. If you get in quick, you might be able to be on the launching of the Bush Bee Man wax melter. I don't think it worked quite as well as I had envisaged, but it does work. It just costs a fortune, so. Anyway, so I popped the frames in, and then my great plan was you can put your lid on the pot like this, and then you just go away and do something else and come back and remove the frames and there you are, all clean. Because as the heat lamp, my theory was the heat lamps would melt the front one and then the next one and so on and so forth. But, actually I think I've got rid of all that evidence. If you happen to have a frame with plastic foundation, it throws things a little bit awry and turns them into a bit of mush. But I think I cleaned all them the other day. I can show you what happens to a plastic frame. Now I don't know how many people have got plastic frames in their bee boxes, but they don't like heat lamps, let me tell you that for free. Just a little bit warped, and I don't think that's going to go back in my box. I suppose I could warm it back up again and reshape it, but I think I might just hang it on the wall as a mural. What do you reckon? What do you think? I could put that in the house and say, look at that, it's amazing. Created that all by myself. Do you reckon the wife would let me get away with that? I had a little hook there and said, look, we've got a melted bee frame. How long do you reckon it would last on the wall? Not very long? No. Shit, it'd be funny though, wouldn't it? You'd need 3 of them though, so you had the aesthetics going, wouldn't you? So what's that called? A light bulb moment, isn't it? When you come back after a day or 2 of fooling around with this older project and you come up with a better idea and you think, I actually have to be involved. But other thing I've discovered with cleaning wax frames, if you want to not look completely ridiculous at the end of it, you should get yourself an apron. So I don't know if you remember my box painting exercise, but I had an apron for painting boxes. I went down to the op shop and I got an apron for doing wax now, so I'm aproned up. I look like the ladies at the RSL kitchen when they're doing a catering thing. They're all got the little pinnies on. So I'm right in the fashion, I am. Only I'm not a 90-year-old chick. The things you find in your local op shop's rather amazing. So I've got barbecue, and it's got a menu even. I don't think bee frames are on the barbecue menu, but it saves you getting wax and shit all over your clothes, and your wife says, I'll put those bloody clothes through the machine on blooming stain care for 3 goes, and the wax is still everywhere. So here we are, darling. I'm trying to do the right thing. You wouldn't believe it, but look at me go. Come on, let's see what happened. You know, I've never actually read this before. It's got here, the bloke's asking what's cooking, and over here it's got what's burning instead. But we might have to get a little black PEX texture in here and just write in what's melting, so we can have, and maybe a little buzzy bee instead of a chimney. But anyway, digressing, get on with it, he says. Right, now the original plan was I'd be able to come back out here and I'd have a whole row of melted frames, but that didn't really work like you would have imagined. So we're going to go to the next level, but I'll show you, if you come around here, you can see how it works, sort of. So as you can see, it does actually work, the melting idea, but the wax doesn't run out the tap, and the power compared to wax is probably ridiculous. So unless you're generating your own power off of a windmill or some shit, oh, what are those, not windmills, what are those things called? Anyway, if you've got your own power that doesn't cost you nothing, maybe you can go for it. But me, I'm still hooked up to the mains, and they keep sending me bills, and it's like, I'm not really sure. So I'm hoping somebody out there in internet land buys some of my wax to help pay the power bill that I've got in the cupboard that the wife's gone, holy shit, do something different. So this is different, this bit. So here we go. So I had to speed up a little bit of a process, and I had to be a bit more manual. So I don't know. Here I was thinking I was going to be all clever, but I was kind of clever, but I just can't pay for it. So I've got my little scrapey up stick. And then you can take your frame off. So now it's nice and warm. You just come over to your container, give it a tap. So of course everything's nice and warm, so you can just scrape it off nice and easy. Of course I had my lovely wife on this job for a little while, but somehow she got awful busy and found something else to do. Don't blame her actually, but you know, she did have a crack for a fair while, and then said, oh, I think maybe the roses might need pruning sometime this month. Something along those lines. But anyway, that's all right. You can't expect the lovely wife to do all the shit jobs. It makes this wax to get off a bit easier when it's hot. And then I'm not too stressed about the wires because I'm going to replace them anyway. And some of these frames are knackered anyway. This one's all about stuffed, so these are probably going to end up re-waxed and put back in the brood boxes after we wax dip them to make sure they're all nice and healthy. That's the plan anyway. But you know what they said about plans? Napoleon had a plan and that didn't work out so good in the end. Oh, right. That's got a bit cool. It's a bit cold out here today. Rightio. So there you go. That's one done. This doesn't appear a lot quicker, does it, out there in internet land, but it is. Anybody who's done a few hundred of these will know what I'm on about. We'll take it out while it's nice and hot. Anyway, I just come to my pot. So you got half of it actually out already. I guess if we got the heat a bit wider, maybe we have to get another set of heat lamps. And God, anyway, let's not get carried away. We're probably being a little ambitious in a hurry, but don't drop that in there, all right? Oh, hell. The things you do, honestly. The things you do so you can get the wax off the frames and clean shit up. Oh, there we go. Now it's going to fall apart. Ah. Anyway, as much as this looks a little bit laborious, it does speed things up on a winter's day. But I would suggest if you're not a mad keen wax collector, you just throw all this shit on the fire and start from nothing. But still, how do you do that? The frames are worth like $3 each. Or $3, $4 each. Then you've got the lovely wife who wants the wax, who was very keen for a little while to get the wax out of the frames. And now she can't. I'll show you how she likes to see it in a minute when we get to the end of all this excitement. She's not so keen on it at this stage. There's a little bit later on in the process she starts to think, oh, look at that, I'll take charge now. Gotta love it, don't you? But it's fair enough and all. Don't do this in your wife's laundry. Look at the shit on my shed floor. Honestly. Well, we're getting there. Only a few million to go. No, not really. We're on the home stretch. This is the last few I had organised. The fun part, I was just looking in my pot. I don't know how the hell I'm going to get that crap out of there, so I'm thinking I might put the heat lamps underneath and warm it up, and maybe I could shovel it out. John's not nodding with enthusiasm. I don't know. He's not really convinced that that could work. But let's prove him wrong, shall we? Yes, as usual. There, where there's a will, there's a way, I think the saying goes. I'll just turn the lights off for a minute so they can cool down and we don't blow up the light bulbs. Otherwise, that'll really suck. It's a pit of poo. I reckon we'll just turn them off for a minute. Oh, just turn off the switch. So you just got to love resourcefulness. You see, I actually had to use two different sizes. So as the size of the pot, then it was perfect for the frames. If a bloke was motivated, he would have hooked us to something, but you can't have everything, they tell me, in life. Just a couple of things would be handy though, wouldn't it? Now, Mr. Muscles, to move that bee box along a little bit. That was my ambitious bucket. I did manage to get one little bit of wax in it. I think in a past life this might have been a honey tank by the look of that tap, but anyway. I don't know. What are we going to do? We're going to have to move this bucket, this tin under here. Oh, shivers. That's actually pretty heavy. That might have more wax in there than I think. Oh, shit, don't break the tap. Don't do that. Oh, golly gosh. Oh, right. And the one at the back, maybe. Oh, help. Amazing, these bee boxes. They get used for everything. I seen a bloke make a really cool bar out of them once. Me, I've made some cool shop display things out of them for the shops. They look really groovy. So if you happen to have a shop in SA and you want to get the Bush Bee Man in your shop, give me a hoy on the what's that bloody thing called? Email-y thing. Send me an email and we can tee up. Am I going to try and clean those globes or what? That isn't going to happen, is it? I think I've done these light bulbs a little bit of no good. Anyway, we're going to pop the heat underneath the pot. It's not going to fit, of course, because the lights are mounted in a bee box, and the bee boxes are actually just sitting on the height of the bloody frame. So Mr. Gigglepot over there behind the camera is having a laugh at me, as usual. So I'm just going to have to go and find some boards, lift this up fractionally so as that the lights can go underneath the boards where the bites are being. Does that make any sense? No. Anyway, just wait there. What did I do with a couple? I had some boards here somewhere. That'll do. Here we go. That one on the ground. Safely stored. Safely stored here. Ecky thump. I've done that joke about the bloody cricket killers, haven't I? When you get two bits of board and go, cockroach destroyer. The star review might be a bit interesting, mightn't it? Oh, hell. If I lift that up, do you reckon you could slide the board along, or would that be too much to expect? Ooh. And one the other side. I think I'm getting all ambitious, but I'm going to put a bit of wood at the back to get it on a tilt, so as maybe the wax will run out of my original theory. You can almost hear the laughter from here with that idea. God. But you never know. Oh, golly gosh. Fuck, that's heavy. Oh, thanks for your help, mate. You're a good bloke.
You're welcome.
Tell you what, Just as well you're talented, otherwise you'd have to be highly something, disciplined. How am I going to get that in there? Ah, oh, golly. I'm going to go to all this trouble and it's not even going to come out of there anyway, is it? Come on. Just a bit of cooperation. Oh, look at that. Sometimes you just got to celebrate the small victories in life. Because I've got a bloody lid in here and it's stuck in the wax. Look at that. That's not coming out of there. Wax here a bit. Just as well we can go and have a coffee while we let this warm up. Zzz. Out. Out into the world. Free yourself, wax. Free yourself. Then fuck off. I think the general consensus is that the wax is not going to run out of this pot by itself. So, I've got some reinforcements and we're going to dig it out by hand. Look out. Even the bees have turned up. Rightio. That's pretty hard in there. Golly gosh. Oh, come on. What have I done? I think I've created a problem. This all looked good on the plans. Ha ha ha. Of course, you know there was no plans, don't you, if you've watched this show more than once. Something's happening, it's bubbling. We're cooking underneath there somewhere. Just breathe. Apparently when I get stressed, I've got to breathe through my nose very relaxingly. Apparently this is controlled breathing, apparently, so you can calm yourself just before meditation. Because I've tried meditation. You know what happens when I meditate? I end up on this crazy journey out of all this mad shit that I didn't really be thinking about. So, and usually it's negative, so that's not good. So I figured meditation is not for me, but maybe controlled breathing. Apparently that's okay. But even then, I've tried it out in the field and I do a bit of controlled breathing and next thing I wake up an hour later and think, fucking hell, I guess that was one way to relax. I don't actually think that's what it's meant to be about, but anyway, try some controlled breathing if you can't get wax out of your blooming honey bath. How the hell are we going to get it out of here, John? What the hell? Come on, you're always full of good ideas. J-face. Look at that, I've got some. It's like spearfishing for wax. We might have to put that sort of longevity thing on with that music that goes la 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 la. Because this could be it. Oh no, hang on. I've got a spot back here that's moving. The last time your poor sister come to visit me and she wanted to be helpful, so I said, oh, that's good, you could get the blooming cap those scrapings out of the other uncapping pot. But it was, yes, anyway, so I'd put them in there to settle because I had a few high frames that I couldn't get the honey out of, so they were all in there in this big sticky mess. Funnily enough, she didn't volunteer for a job the next day. Anyway, bless her, she got it all clean and in the pot, so if she can do that, we can do this. We will extract you. The bees are enthusiastic. They've come along to say hello. Woo! Look at that. Whew. Ta-da! There's a big lump of wax for you. It didn't make it out me tap, but oh well. All's well that ends well. I might not recommend this. The theory was good. Ow! Fuck! Ah! Watch out for wire while you're doing this. Oh, there's the continental shelf just broke away. Yoo-hoo! I might just turn my heat off because we're smoking it up in here. Oh my gosh. Oh, something's going on. Here. Oh, God. You can tell that gets jolly hot. Find out where to pick it up so I don't burn myself any more than I already did. Oh, look at that. It's almost artistic, isn't it? Looks like a little wax lava rock. I reckon that's kind of cool. See, look at that, there's a little squiggly bit. I wonder if that's what happens when lava wiggles across the planet. That's kind of crazy when that happens, the whole friggin' melted rocks. How bloody hot would it have to be to melt rocks? Or is it melted rocks when lava? Is that what it is, or is that just something out in the middle of the planet? So I don't know. Is that what it is? What is lava? Yeah, we're so educated, aren't we? I'm sure someone out there will know. We'll find out soon, won't we? Anyway, maybe not completely successful, but not a complete failure either. So perhaps by the time we get to prototype 55, we'll be organised. Maybe not. Maybe we'll just wait until summer. So the next stage of cleaning up your wax from that pile of muck to what's going to be in one of these buckets in a minute, you've already seen. So if you really got nothing else to do when you're locked up in your house, scroll back through all the other episodes and you'll find out a moment in time when a bloke showed you how to melt some wax in a saucepan, and you can create it into this bucket here, which gets my wife interested when it gets to this bucket stage. So let's go over and just scrape a bit of crap off the bottom of that, and that'll be that. Right, we'll just go over here to the high-tech wax scraping department. No expense spared here in the bush. Cool. The uses you find for buckets on the farm, it's rather good fun. Anyway, so you've got the wax and it's settled out and some of the sediment's gone to the bottom out of your hot saucepan. You want to just scrape that off. I'm not even 100% sure where the scraper came from, but it's ideal for this because it's got a little bend in it now. So if you want to dig in, you can go with the bend towards your wax. If you want to not dig in so much, you put the bend away from the wax. It's a very high-tech tool now, but I don't think it was actually designed for that, but that's how it works. So if you're just wondering, you want to bend your own shit up, you can. Anyway, just do that. Scrape the bottom off. So you get a few biscuits like that, and then you pot them back in the saucepan and do that a few times. And then we've got another cool wax for a warmer-upper, a thing that does the last bit of sediment. And the next thing you know, you get turned into lip gloss, or you get turned into a candle, or you get turned into shit to put on your boots that stops your boots going rotten when you're stuck in the mug hole. So the things that you can do with beeswax never ceases to amaze me. But I tell you what, it's an effort to get it. And don't forget to go to the website, the Bush Bee Company, and help me out and buy some stuff so I can pay my power bill, because, you know, it's an interesting journey, this whole exercise. Thank you.